Hello, everyone. Welcome back to More Than a Muse podcast. My name is Sadie.
I'm Stauney, and hello. It is Black History Month still for us here, and we are ending on a very fun note.
I
Personally,
know.
I'm excited about this, especially because we talked a lot about Kendrick Lamar last week. And
And
then
halftime show.
I kind of started thinking about that. And then I got into this really weird conversation with my parents about Tupac and Biggie Smalls. I'm asking them how much they knew about that whole thing when it was happening. And they were like, Stauney, we grew up in very small towns. We didn't know anything. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, fair.
Small
No.
town Utah. We are in
Yeah.
Idaho. We don't know anything.
Yeah, they're
That's
like,
so
we
funny.
knew their names. And then I was like, oh, didn't you know that people think that Tupac's still alive? And my dad was like, what? It's
No.
like,
You
okay.
mean they don't frequent Reddit deep dives?
And then I was like, okay, probably not now, actually, though. I don't know if anyone actually still thinks.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, but then my dad brought up, he was like, did you know that people think that Elvis is still alive? And I was like, yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So it was a fun conversation.
That is a very fun conversation. I know we talked about the Grammys too last week, and it was mainly about Cowboy Carter. But I have to say, Doechii performance and her acceptance speech and pretty much everything after was probably one of my favorite moments of the Grammys. And she's an incredible rap artist. Also was the third woman ever to win a rap album of the year. Incredible. And she mentioned that when she got her award a couple weeks ago. Also, I saw this video, a TikTok that she made, coming back to the people who accused her of lip syncing at the Grammys, and it's very funny. You should go watch it because she roasts everyone, and she's basically like, I was doing cartwheels. Sorry that my DJ filled in the gaps and sang the words while I was literally doing flips. Let's use. I'm pretty sure she opens up the video and she's like, let's use our brains for 1 second. I'm like, thank you, Doechii. You put all of them in their place for daring to say anything against you.
I don't get it. I literally don't understand this constant obsession with whether or not people are singing live.
Totally.
I think there was even some for the Super Bowl, and they were like, oh, SZA. So a bunch of people threw a fit, and they were like, oh, I think her backing track came in at this one part or something. And then a bunch of people in the comments were like, guys, if they have a technical error, they're not going to just let it fail. If her mic doesn't work, they're not just, oh, guess we just won't hear that part of the song. They have things set up. That's the whole point of having the technology we have now, is to make things like that work.
Make it better.
Yeah. And I'm just like, why would you be upset? She still sang it in the studio and everything originally. And then I don't know. It's just such a weird thing, especially when people also keep claiming auto-tune for everything when that's not really even a thing that people do anymore live. I don't know.
Well, it's funny to me that people use it as a gotcha moment, because the truth is a lot of live performers and the technology is advanced to the point that you pretty much can have auto-tune happening in real time. And here's the thing though, who cares? That I feel, because if they weren't going to have that, first off, you critique anyone who is slightly out of tune, but perfect vocal. Remember when Olivia Rodrigo did a couple live performances and it wasn't perfect? People roasted her.
Yeah.
Vocals do never sound the way that they do on a studio album. We just now have the technology to make it sound better.
Yeah.
And if you're going to say, I'm going to do a pop show, you do have to make the vocals sound like the actual recording. Also, that doesn't negate the fact that they're incredible vocalists that are performing.
Oh, 100%.
1+1 vocalist using autotune does not mean bad singer.
No.
Those are two different concepts that don't connect.
I think I saw something from Sabrina Carpenter this week where she was talking about how when she sang Espresso in the studio, they did this cool breath control thing. And she was like, oh, this is so fun. How cool. And then she had to sing it on stage in a performance while dancing. And she was like, oh my gosh, this does not work live.
Yeah.
The breath control is so difficult to try and do in this completely different scenario. And it's duh. It would be easier to sing in a studio versus on the stage with background dancers in front of a bunch of people while you're moving. So
with like, let's use our noggins for a second.
So it's crazy that continues to be something that's brought up when I'm like, I don't think that's as big of a gotcha moment as
It's not a gotcha moment. Also, too, people just love to tell on themselves. I don't actually know what's happening. With accusing Doechii of lip syncing, I'm like, oh, use your brains. She's literally has the DJ behind her filling in the spots, and just because she did that doesn't mean the performance was like any.
It's okay, then you do it. You get up and do cartwheels while you continue to rap the entire time.
That's the thing. You do it then. Let's see who's talking.
If you're that much better, then you do it. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyways, we've got a lot to cover on today's episode. Let's jump in. As much as I love just to talk about the Grammys and what's happening currently in music, but we're talking about hip hop music, feminism in hip hop, and some of just the amazing women who were the foremothers of this.
Yeah.
Founding mothers.
We're talking about a lot of people here today, you guys. We are not talking about everyone. I don't think we could even possibly do that. I saw that there's a book called, I'm going to have to post it, but it was like something and then 100 women who founded hip hop or whatever. Cool. If we could do that, we would.
Yeah.
To cover all 100. This is just going to be 12, which is still a lot. I think this is the most people we've ever fit into one episode. Hopefully they actually all fit.
Totally. And also, we're obviously not going to be talking a lot about them or a full deep dive into their lives, but at least talking about their contributions, and then maybe future episodes we can dive further into their lives.
Yeah, so definitely. There's plenty of them that could have an entire episode on them for sure. But first off, of course, we want to just talk a little bit about the history and origins of hip hop itself, which, to be honest, is a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, most things are before you learn about them. Hip hop was originally known as disco rap, and it emerged as a genre of music in 1970s in New York City. It has rhythmic beats built around disco grooves and electronic drum patterns. And it also introduced, of course, rapping, a percussive vocal delivery of rhymed poetic speech. And that was meant to be, from the very beginning, a consciousness-raising form of expression. So literally ingrained within the foundation of rap was to draw attention to things. While the term hip-hop is frequently used to refer solely to rap music, it actually encompasses a much broader cultural movement that includes DJing, turntablism, beatboxing, and dance. We're only talking about the music, but obviously there's a lot to it. It also included a lot of graffiti and street art too, which I didn't really think about, but of course. The roots of hip-hop culture were planted during the 1970s in the Bronx, where block parties became a central hub for musical experimentation and social interaction, particularly among marginalized youth. So they would use like the turntables, the mixer, they'd extend the beat, keep the dancers energized, and then these breaks paired with scratching, beat matching, formed the backbone of the entire genre. Meanwhile, rapping evolved as a new vocal style, with artists rhythmically chanting or speaking in sync with these instrumental beats, creating a fresh and engaging soundscape. Of course, it grew rapidly within those local communities, but it didn't get mainstream acceptance until 1979, I think, when the genre made its official radio debut. And that was particularly due to the success of Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. And that was considered the beginning of old school hip hop. As the 80s progressed, hip hop diversified both stylistically and geographically. So then you have new school hip hop, which embraced electro sounds, golden age hip hop, which was known for its innovation and complexity, and then subgenres like gangster rap began to emerge, which of course was more focused on the realities of inner city life. In the 80s and 90s, hip hop solidified its position in mainstream culture, with the Grammys introducing the Best Rap Performance category in 1989, allowing it to finally be considered a legitimate musical genre. And during this era, regional styles flourished. Of course, you had the West Coast hip hop that popularized G-Funk, while the East Coast hip hop explored jazz rap and hardcore sounds. And then Southern rap and Atlanta hip hop began to make waves. And by the 1990s, it was a top-selling genre. It continues to have a very strong connection to social commentary and political expression. It, of course, from the very beginning was focused on the lives and voices of marginalized people. So it fit very perfectly within that, addressing issues like systematic racism, poverty, and police brutality. And then over the years, you have artists like Tupac Shakur and Kendrick Lamar who continue this tradition, using their platforms to highlight injustices and inspire change. In addition, of course, this impact went into dance, fashion, visual art, emceeing, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti art, and created a whole subculture that embraced creativity and the community. And apparently, knowledge is often considered the fifth element of hip
Oh,
hop
cool.
because it was the whole idea of empowerment and education within the movement. So you would learn
Mm.
as a part of it.
So the actual term hip hop has of course, its history. So the exact origin, though, it's not completely clear. I feel like that's, as is the case
Most
for a lot of
things.
these things. Yeah. We can't always pinpoint exactly where things starts. The actual phrase date back to the 17th century, apparently, which is crazy. But modern usage is what, of course, we're talking about, is often credited to Keith Cowboy of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, who reportedly used the phrase while teasing a friend joining the army, mimicking the rhythmic cadence of marching soldiers. But then artists like Lovebug Starsky and Afrika Bambaataa further popularized the team when they used it to describe the broader culture encompassing music, dance, and art. 1970s laid that groundwork even more, like you mentioned, with DJs that would pioneer just their techniques at the Bronx blocks parties. These gatherings provided an outlet for people to express themselves. Ooh, another cool thing about hip hop is technology played a really crucial role in shaping hip hop sound. And I think that's a really cool thing about new and innovative genres. I feel like we talk about this where it's oftentimes like when something new comes, they're willing to embrace the newer technologies. Whereas is like the old fine arts, I don't know, opera or the symphony. If someone were to have come and been like, what if we add this sick beat underneath the symphony, like people would clutch their pearls, and be like, how dare you disrupt our art? Whereas if it's something that is reactionary to the world around you, that is a new sound, that like it's in the perfect place to embrace the cool new technology that was happening with music production and
Oh,
DJing,
definitely.
drum machines, and all of that thing. And so this is a genre that fully embraced that and was able to help create the sound, which I thought was really cool.
I'm like laughing in my head because I'm thinking that the classical musicians would have loved that though. Like the fact they were
Yeah.
setting off cannons during the symphony. Like they would have been like, oh yeah, please bring that in.
Please. If you showed Beethoven a drum
Oh
machine,
yeah.
I promise you Beethoven would have loved that. Like
100%.
he
They're
would have put
artists.
that in his symphony.
He would have
If
been like,
someone
yeah.
Do you think if he got a synth, hello? Like he would have loved the synth.
He would have
Oh, I
loved it.
don't just have to play the grand piano, or give me a break.
They
Yeah.
would have been fans.
They
Really
would have
big fans.
loved it. But the 1980s allowed producers to experiment, of course, with the beats. There's different devices like the Roland TR-808 became just staples of hip hop. Turntables, like the scratching, added new textures to music and everything. Just it's really cool how technological innovation just helped grow this genre and helped solidify the sounds. And that I think the people who were creating music in this art, like they were looking to innovate and to push their own creative boundaries. And it was like the perfect time in history for it because technology was just booming in
Yeah,
music.
definitely.
So yeah, by the 2000s, hip hop had pretty much cemented its status as this huge phenomenon, and so many different subgenres have come out. Think like trap music, mumble rap, like there's so many different offshoots of hip hop. But yeah, and like you said, it definitely has gone on to influence music, fashion, language, even politics. Honestly, I think it's inherently political, like you said,
Oh,
with
definitely.
what it all started as and the messaging behind it. So it's incredible. And we're going to talk about some of the women of hip hop music now.
Yes, which was so fun to dive into. Basically, I feel like everything we've ever covered, the entire idea of hip hop is owed to a woman. Thank you very much.
Woo! Yes.
Cindy Campbell was basically the person who organized the entire block party that became the origin of hip hop. It's widely regarded that hip hop was born on August 11th, 1973, in the Bronx. There was a back to school party in the recreation room of DJ Kool Herc, his apartment building on Sedgwick Avenue. and that kickstarted the culture. Many music fans and historians credit Herc, real name Clive Campbell, as the father of hip-hop, but he only focused on DJing and setting the party vibes. Someone actually had to come up with the idea, promote the party itself, and actually promote it and throw it, and that was Herc's younger sister, Cindy Campbell. Of course, she is recognized as the first lady of hip-hop, which is fair because
because it's correct.
Created handwritten flyers and produced all the parties around that time, making her the first promoter of hip-hop. And to cut her costs, she hired her brother to DJ the events, which we love. So I found this excerpt from a Vogue article that said 50 years ago in New York City, a Jamaican-American teenager named Cindy Campbell asked her older brother to DJ at the block party she was hosting to raise money for a new back-to-school wardrobe. Amazing. She made and distributed flyers inviting people to the recreation room of their West Bronx apartment building, promoting her brother by his new stage name, DJ Kool Herc. It was August of 1973. New York City was bankrupt and the Bronx was burning as landlords were literally torching their own buildings for insurance money. And there at that party on Sedgwick Avenue, many say that hip-hop was born. In the decades since, the Black and Latinx youth culture movement blossomed during a period of immense economic and political distress in the city when unemployment hit a record high and thousands were displaced from their homes, has transformed into one of the biggest global phenomenons of the last century.
Wow. That's
setting the scene of what was going on during that time period. But she said herself, I promoted the whole thing. I got the cards. I put Herc's name on there. He was just interested in playing his music. She charged 25 cents for the entrance fee and made about $300 that night.
Wow.
That's a lot of people for that low.
If you're charging a quarter, yeah, that's crazy.
But still, $300 that night is
that's
a very
1,200 people. That's crazy.
But of course, hip-hop now is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that was cheap. But she definitely made enough money for her back-to-school wardrobe, just saying. She also was a graffiti artist. Her tag was Pep1. And a B-girl, which is short for break girl or a female break dancer. The other version of it was like B-boys. But then people are like, I'm a girl. I'm not a B-boy.
Yeah.
B-girl, obviously. So they do break dancing. And then throughout her career, she managed and promoted DJ Kool Herc, secured his role at the 1984 film Beat Street, and coordinated major features in The Source and Vanity Fair. Wow. She also had a really diverse background in fashion. She worked as a model, attended the Fashion Institute of Technology, and even competed in the Miss Black American Beauty pageant, and holds licenses in cosmetology, aesthetics, and real estate. So a very multifaceted woman. She also is the founder of Hip Hop Preserve, Inc., which is a nonprofit dedicated to preserving hip-hop's origins and working on a health initiative for hip-hop artists. She also launched Kool Herc Sedgwick and the Cedar clothing lines, and as a business manager, creates opportunities for DJ Kool Herc and other artists, while also lecturing globally on hip-hop history and supporting community initiatives. Look at her, entrepreneur from the beginning.
Yeah, truly.
Created a whole billion-dollar music genre and industry around it.
Absolutely. So the first commercial hip-hop song was produced by a woman. Amazing. That's Sylvia Robinson. So she's often dubbed as the mother of hip-hop. I love there's like the father of hip-hop, the mother of hip-hop, the first lady of hip. Like, I'm glad we're giving everyone these titles. But Sylvia was a trailblazing producer, songwriter, and a record label executive who played such a huge pivotal role in shaping modern music. She started her career as part of the duo Mickey and Sylvia that was known for their 1957 hit Love is Strange, but her early work in production often went uncredited.
I know, how strange.
I know. But that included the 1960 hit You Talk Too Much and Ike and Tina Turner's It's Gonna Work Out Fine. Despite these erasures, she made history as one of the first Black female independent record producers. Most people credit Russell Simmons and Def Jam as being hip-hop's first major music label, but her and her husband, Joe Robinson, actually produced the first commercial hip-hop song. In 1979, they created Sugar Hill Records, which was named after a neighborhood in Harlem, New York. And she became enamored with hip-hop after hearing Lovebug Starsky rapping over the breakdown of Good Times. in a nightclub. So she sent her son around New Jersey to scout talent. She had a vision, and Joey, her son, returned with 3 young men: Michael Wonder Mike Wright, Henry Big Bank Jackson, and Guy Master G O'Brien, forming the Sugar Hill Gang. Together, they recorded Rapper's Delight, the first ever commercial hip hop song that predated Def Jam by 5 years. So she has gotten some criticism for fabricating this group because her son went out and scouted them.
Come on, you guys. One Direction.
I was gonna say, like, welcome to music business. Like, I don't know. But like doing this, it cemented hip hop as a commercially viable genre. It became a massive hit. It sold over 1 million copies and introduced rap to mainstream audiences. You can criticize that, but it seems like it was all a part of the greater good here.
She had a vision, she had a plan, and it worked out.
And she did it. Under her and her husband's leadership, Sugar Hill Records signed hip hop artist legends like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and the Funky 4+1 that just pioneered the genre's growth. Her label produced tracks like The Message and White Lines, which emphasize hip hop's potential for social commentary. Her career, though, was marred by mismanagement, ties to organized crime, and artist disputes over unpaid royalties and credits. Despite building at one point a multi-million-dollar empire, Sugar Hill eventually filed for bankruptcy. Her business partner got divorced, and like I said, Sugar Hill declined, but she continued to produce music and scout talent on her own, but she didn't necessarily reach the same success. But her contributions remain being overshadowed, perhaps a broader issue of women's erasure in music history and the music industry. I love this quote. So she actually passed away in 2011, but had a very complicated, it seems, but an important legacy of just incredible success and of just all her work behind the scenes. There's a producer, Paula Wagner, noted about her saying she wasn't afraid to be alone in the creative wilderness, which I think is really cool. And I love this. It says, every dollar hip hop earns today in many ways traces back to Sylvia Robinson's groundbreaking vision. Which,
definitely.
Love that.
Yeah. The next is Sha-Rock, which is hip hop's first female solo artist. So MC Sha-Rock, born Sharon Green in 1962, is often widely recognized as the first female rapper and holds the title Mother of the Mic, another title that we've got in hip-hop culture. She was born in North Carolina, raised in the South Bronx, and then became a pioneering figure during hip-hop's formative years. She started as a B-girl and then transitioned into MCing and then made history as the first female rapper to appear on wax, which apparently means on vinyl.
Oh, cool.
Forgive me for not knowing all of the terms. I did have to look them all up. Sha-Rock was the standout member of the legendary group that you mentioned just barely, Funky 4+1, where she was the +1, 4 guys, 1 girl.
There we go.
The group became the first hip-hop act to perform on national television, making history with their 1981 Saturday Night Live appearance alongside Blondie. We love Blondie.
Iconic.
Their notable tracks include Rapping and Rocking the House, That's the Joint, and the latter was apparently praised by a critic who wrote, when it comes to Sha-Rock, Miss +1 herself who needs variation. Her rap style, especially the echo chamber technique, influenced artists like MC Lyte and DMC of Run DMC. Unlike many women in hip-hop at the time, she wasn't portrayed as a sex object, which I'm sure was very rare even in the early days, but was allowed to be an equal among her male peers, helping break gender barriers in the genre, which I think is fair. I saw the picture of them performing on Saturday Night Live, and it literally was just like the 4 guys and then her. They didn't try to play it up or anything. I even think she was just like in a t-shirt and jeans. Like they were just like, yep, she's here, she's doing her thing. And that's really great. That doesn't happen very often, sadly. But this, of course, set her apart and allowed her to pave the way for future female rappers like Roxanne Shanté and Salt-N-Pepa. Throughout her career, she remained deeply committed to hip-hop culture. In 2009, she was honored with the All Pioneer Luminary MC Award by the Hip Hop Cultural Center of Harlem, where she reminded audiences hip-hop is really not just about rap and profit. It's about peace, unity, and having fun. In 2010, she published her memoir, The Story of the Beginning and End of the First Hip-Hop Female MC, luminary icon Sha-Rock, which
Amazing.
I'm like, I would love to write a story about myself and call myself a luminary. But that detailed, of course, her journey and challenges as a female MC. And her legacy as a trailblazer continues to be celebrated. She also got an honorary award from the Council of the City of New York for her groundbreaking contributions to hip hop.
Wow, that's amazing. Next up is the Mercedes Ladies, which is hip hop's first female rap group. Like I said, the Mercedes Ladies. They began actually as a social group that evolved into DJs, MCs, and later a singer group. R.D. Smiley, who's one of the founders, recalled, "We started as just a social crew, but we later became DJs and MCs. The original lineup included DJ Baby, R.D. Smiley, and the MCs Zena Z, Eva Death, and Sherry Cher. In 1978, they became the first all-female hip-hop crew. They would carry their own equipment. They would set up their first jam at 63 Park without any male help. Slay. Baby D remembers, "We did all of this with no help from the men." She also shares how witnessing Grandmaster's Flash inspired her despite skepticism from male peers. Quote, "I told my boyfriend I wanted to be the female version of that man. They started cracking up and that pissed me the hell off."
Anger
I
is
love
a
her.
very good motivator.
Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
They faced a lot of misogyny and sabotage from their manager named Trevor, who Smiley claims wanted to fail and would even tamper with their DJ sets. Despite these challenges, they persisted, but continue to struggle with poor management, lack of resources, and internal changes. They also reflect, "We never had good management or anyone who really put money into us." Eventually, they transitioned into a singing act, which led to decline. They never actually released music as a group, but the members individually found success. Baby D released No Sense with Spider D and contributed backing vocals to Donald's Groove by Donald D, reflecting on hip hop's early recordings. She admits that she initially thought they were a fad, saying, "I didn't think it would last until later in the 80s. But R.D. Smiley knew its potential, stating, "I knew once it got to wax, it would be big." The Mercedes Ladies, though, often seem to be overlooked in hip hop history. Baby D said, "With all of the 50th anniversary celebrations, you would think that the Mercedes Ladies would get talked about." And she emphasized the importance of telling their story, told her that she was out of sight, out of mind. But they continue to create music, even recently releasing. Baby D sums up their lasting impact. "The pioneers are still here and we still have it."
Love that. Plus, Mercedes Ladies, that's a really good name.
That's a great name.
It really is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the next one is Roxanne Shanté, which was the first female battle rapper. She was born Lolita Shanty Gooden and is recognized as one of the first female rap stars and a pioneer in the genre. She actually skyrocketed to fame at only 14 years old with a diss track, Roxanne's Revenge, in 1984, which was a sharp and witty response to UTFO's Roxanne, produced by Marley Marl.
Wow.
The track became an instant hit, selling over 250,000 copies in the first few weeks, and making Shanté one of the first female MCs to achieve mainstream success. Her emergence during the Roxanne Wars, which is a series of response tracks sparked by Roxanne's Revenge, cemented her place in hip-hop history as a pioneer of diss tracks, which, thank you,
is so
we
relevant.
appreciate your service.
Oh my gosh. From Roxanne, Revenge of Roxanne, to Not Like Us. Incredible.
Yes, there you go. Which, of course, is still a format that is a staple in rap battles and rivalries. We literally just saw one be performed live at the Super Bowl.
Roxanne's Revenge is literally a 5-minute song. Just look it on Spotify. I cannot wait to go listen to this.
I know. I'm like, she's one of the ones that I'm like, we could do a whole episode on that. Very intrigued by the idea of the Roxanne Wars. I'm like, how many responses did she get?
I want to deep dive into the Roxanne Wars. Absolutely.
Of course, she had a fearless approach to lyricism. You would have to in order to write diss tracks. And her battle rap skills set a new standard for women in hip hop. She wasn't afraid to go toe to toe with male rappers, often outshining them in freestyle battles. And her involvement in the Juice Crew, one of the most influential hip hop collectives, further solidified her reputation as a formidable MC. In 1985, she took part in one of the genre's first recorded rap battles. On round one, Roxanne Shanté vs. Sparky D, which was a 6-track project that showcased her sharp lyrical wit. Though she faced discrimination, famously losing a battle due to gender bias, which, come on, people, do better.
Boo.
Her resilience and skill made her a trailblazer for female empowerment in hip hop. She, of course, released many influential tracks, including Have a Nice Day, Go On Girl, which further highlighted her talent and her staying power. She had a 1989 album, Bad Sister, and in 1992, The Bitch Is Back cemented her reputation as a bold, unfiltered voice in hip hop. By the age of 25, though, she largely stepped away from recording, but continued to mentor young female rappers and remained an influential figure in the hip hop community. Which, I mean, when you started at
14, that's so valid. Yeah.
it's like, okay, that's a long career. Her impact was formally recognized when VH1 ranked Roxanne's Revenge at number 42 on their list of 100 greatest songs of hip hop. Of course, her legacy extends beyond her music. She's been hailed as rap's first female star, credited with popularizing the diss track, and her story was brought to life in the critically acclaimed 2017 biopic Roxanne, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and highlighted her struggles and triumphs as a young female rapper navigating the harsh realities of the industry.
Okay, I can't wait for the deep dive I'm gonna do after this. Thank you for bringing this woman into my consciousness.
My gosh.
Okay, the next person I have today is Salt-N-Pepa. Not person, excuse me. This is the first female rap group to achieve platinum. They made groundbreaking contributions to hip-hop rap, solidifying their legacies as true pioneers for women in the genre. They were formed in 1985 by Cheryl, Salt, James, Sandra Peppa Denton, and Deidre DJ Spinderella Roper. They were among the first female rap groups to break into this male-dominated music scene. Their debut album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, came out in 1986 and achieved incredible success, and it made them the first female rap act to earn gold and platinum status from the Recording Industry Association of America. That was widely driven by their single Push It, which became a global sensation.
All know, right?
Yeah.
That was the first one that I read that I was like, oh, I know exactly what that is from the title. I'm sure there would be a few more earlier that I would be like, oh yeah, like I would recognize it after listening to it. But we all know Push It just from the title.
We all know Push It. What's crazy is it only peaked within the top 20 on Billboard's Hot 100, which is an interesting thing that happens. Just because a song goes number one doesn't mean it's going to actually stay culturally relevant. You'd be surprised the songs that seem the most culturally important didn't even actually end up charting that high, even like within an artist's discography, the songs that they end up being remembered. I don't know. It's really interesting to me to see how songs get remembered. But it was ranked number 9 on VH1's Greatest 100 Songs of All Time of Hip Hop. Also secured a spot in Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time, which is really cool. And yeah, their early success really just helped showcase what female rappers could do and what they could achieve. Their impact only grew with their future albums. They had an album called Assault with a Deadly Peppa and Black's Magic that featuring hits like Expression and Let's Talk About Sex, the later sparking important social conversations about sexual health and empowerment. Their 1993 album ended up selling 7 million copies worldwide, earning them the title of the best-selling rap album by a female act at the time. And yeah, just incredible. They were huge. They became one of the first female rap acts to win a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance alongside Queen Latifah, who also won at the same Grammy, which is really cool, at the same ceremony. But their contributions to hip hop extend beyond just their commercial success. They were also really instrumental in reshaping the image of women in rap that embraced themes of female empowerment, their own sexuality, and also independence. Hip hop was at the time criticized for its misogyny, but they tried to flip the narrative and they openly discussed topics like sexual agency, self-expression, bold fashion choices, confident lyricism, and they were there basically to offer a new representation of women in hip hop and broke those barriers. Yeah, incredible. And over the decades, they've maintained their relevance through tours, television series, appearances, different cultural movements. They reunited for numerous tours, received several honors, including the I Am Hip Hop Award for the Bet Hip Hop Awards and a Lifetime Achievement Grammy Award in 2021. In 2022, they were awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is cool. And yeah, they're known as the first ladies of rap, not the first lady, plural ladies of rap, and just continue to inspire other female rappers.
I think they have the song That's What a Man.
Yes, yeah, they're What a Man too. I think that was probably their biggest one. That was on their
That's
album
fun.
that had 7 million copies
Oh,
sold around the
okay.
world.
That makes
What a
sense.
man.
And yeah, I know their songs.
100% know their music.
I feel like we could confidently say that pretty much everyone in our audience knows at least one Salt-N-Pepa song.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, the next is MC Lyte, which is the first female who released a full-length hip-hop album. MC Lyte, born Lana Michelle Moorer, is a trailblazing figure in hip-hop, widely regarded as one of the most influential female rappers in history. I feel like we've been saying that about everyone I talk about today.
Yeah.
But as the first solo female rapper to release a full-length studio album, Light as a Rock, in 1988, she broke ground in a male-dominated genre, setting a new standard for female MCs. With iconic tracks like Paper Thin and 10% Diss, MC showcased her sharp lyricism and battle rap skills, proving that women could hold their own alongside male rappers. She actually liked to tackle very serious issues in her music, including the crack epidemic, in the debut single I Crammed to Understand You, Sam, which made her one of the first rappers to bring social consciousness to the forefront of hip hop. Even though that's a major part of that, it would probably take a lot to go from just singing that at a block party to then turning it onto a track and releasing it, and has a lot of historical firsts. In 1993, she became the first solo female rapper to earn a gold certification from the RIAA for her hit Roughneck, which also earned her a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Solo Performance, which was very rare for women in hip-hop at the time.
Oh, like I said, Doechii was only the third woman to win Rap Album of the Year.
Exactly. It just doesn't happen very often. In 2014, she made history as the first female rapper to perform hip-hop at the White House.
Cool.
Which, who was president in 2014? Would that be Obama?
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't Trump, but I'm like, probably wasn't Bush either.
No, yeah, because Trump's first term was 2016. So,
Obama okay. Yeah,
right
Obama, which makes sense. He also had Kendrick perform at the White House, which highlighted her long-standing cultural impact. Additionally, she was the first solo female rapper to be honored at the VH1 Hip Hop Honors in 2006. She also played a vital role in just empowering other women. She collaborated with leading female artists like Queen Latifah, Yo-Yo, and Brandy on the iconic I Wanna Be Down remix, which became a cultural milestone for female solidarity in rap. And her music carried feminist themes, promoting self-respect and autonomy for women through tracks like Paper Thin and Poor Georgie. She also was a member of the Stop the Violence movement, which contributed to Self-Destruction, which was the first #1 single on Billboard's Hot Rap Singles chart, which advocated for nonviolence and unity in hip-hop. She also is known for philanthropy, acting, and mentorship, founding the Hip Hop Sisters Foundation, which provides scholarships and mentorship for young women. And she's been recognized with many accolades, including IAM Hip Hop Lifetime Achievement Award from the Bet Hip Hop Awards and Harvard University's Webb Du Bois Medal.
Wow.
Through her groundbreaking career and dedication to social change, she paved the way for future generations and solidified herself as a pioneer and role model.
Amazing. So next, talking about Queen Latifah, we both just brought her up, and she was the first solo female rapper to win a Grammy the same night that Salt-N-Pepa did. But I guess Queen Latifah's award was technically announced first, I'm assuming.
Well, and they were a group, and she was the first
solo. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. But she also was one of the first to perform a halftime show. So Queen Latifah, probably the biggest, everyone knows Queen Latifah.
Yeah, definitely one of the most recognizable for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, I didn't even know she started in rap. I was like, she's a singer. No, I had no idea.
Or like an actor, even.
Yeah, I've seen her in so many movies. I know her voice, and I did not know that her start became in rap.
I mean, because like you said, she's obviously known for her to film, TV, and just overall cultural, celebrity.
Yeah.
But she actually emerged in the hip hop scene at just 19 years old. She released her debut album, All Hail the Queen, which is incredible. By the way, her real name is Dana Elaine Owens. It featured the empowering anthem Ladies First, and she established herself as a force in hip hop, where she would talk about issues like domestic violence, street harassment, gender inequality, themes that were often overlooked by the men in the scene because they couldn't offer their perspective on it. She had very bold, intelligent lyricism that helped shape hip hop as a platform for feminist discourse and social awareness. Third album, Black Rain, became the first solo album by a female rapper to achieve gold certification, propelled by the Grammy-winning single Unity, which also made her the first female solo rapper to win the award. This powerful track addressed violence against women and the objectification of Black female bodies and became a very defining anthem for empowerment in hip-hop. Her success demonstrated that rap could be both commercially viable and socially conscious, which is really cool, and just paved the way for not just women, all rappers, and honestly all musicians to use their voices as tools for advocacy. She also broke barriers on stage because she was actually the first rapper, not just female rapper, but first rapper to perform during a Super Bowl halftime show. That solidified her overall crossover appeal. Hold on, I need to figure out.
I know, I hate Roman numerals.
Roman numerals. I'm like Super Bowl XXI. Oh, 1998 is when she did it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Who did she perform with?
I think just her.
Oh, wow.
Queen Latifah performed at the Super Bowl halftime show in 1998.
Cool.
I want to go watch that.
I know.
Entirety. But yeah, like we mentioned at the beginning, she also did a lot of work in acting, television. She became one of the first hip-hop artists to transition into Hollywood. Her role as matron Mama Morton in Chicago that came out in 2002 earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, making her one of the first rappers to achieve that type of recognition, where she's like literally Academy Award nominated. She also starred in movies like Set It Off, Bringing Down the House, while headlining her own sitcom Living Single. Her range as an actress allowed her to shift seamlessly between comedic and dramatic roles, which is, really cool. Latifah's influence extends beyond performance. She has consistently used her platform to advocate for diversity and representation. She became the first hip-hop artist to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is like cool, like not first woman.
Yeah. First hip-hop artist.
One. Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, of course it was Queen Latifah. I knew who she was when I was like 6.
Yeah. An icon.
Yeah, literally.
Honestly, to be honest, I think my introduction to her was from the movie Ice Age.
Okay.
She voiced one of the characters.
Nice. I was going to say Hairspray.
Oh, duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Both of those movies.
So good.
Helps.
And then she also starred in that rom-com The Last Holiday. If you haven't seen that, it's lovely. She
also has a Primetime Emmy Award for her role as Bessie Smith in the HBO film Bessie that came out in 2015. So she had a television show, The Queen Latifah Show, and The Equalizer. She's iconic.
Everywhere.
So she's everywhere.
Love Queen Latifah. Okay, the next is Lauryn Hill, which is a name that comes up a lot. And she was the first female to have a rap song debut at #1, and she also was the first to win 5 Grammys in one night, which love that. I love it when someone sweeps. It's just fun.
Yeah.
She rose to fame as the front woman of the Bee Gees in the early 1990s and helped catapult hip-hop into mainstream with the critically acclaimed album The Score in 96. The record not only topped the Billboard 200, but also earned her the distinction of being the first woman to win a Grammy for Best Rap Album. You'll notice there's lots of first women to win a Grammy, but they're all in different categories. It gets very confusing.
Yeah.
Her standout rendition of Killing Me Softly became a global sensation, establishing her as a more versatile artist who could effortlessly move between singing and rapping, a style that would later influence countless artists. And that's something that I think that is fun, too, about so many of these rappers. They have incredible singing voices, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine being that skilled in 2 areas of music.
Have you listened to this album?
I don't know if I've listened to the whole album. I'm pretty sure I've heard some songs.
I am giving you a homework assignment.
Okay.
I actually listened to it for the first time when I moved out to Nashville because I had a 24-hour drive to do. And
Fair
a couple
enough.
of those stretches, I was going to be driving myself alone in a car. And sure enough, I gave myself some homework and I said, let's listen to some album.
Yeah.
That I know, like, musically. If I'm going to be a musician, I have to know these albums. Anyways, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that was a spiritual experience.
Okay.
So you should listen to it.
I'm
it's
excited.
So good. It's her magnum opus. It's
yes, it literally is her magnum opus. And it marked a pivotal moment in hip-hop and neo-soul. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. It was a critical and commercial triumph, ultimately earning a diamond certification from the RIAA, the first for a female rapper. Its lead single, Doo Wop, parentheses, that thing, debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making her the first artist to debut at #1 on both charts with their first entries. So I'm guessing that's the album and the song chart. The song, celebrated for its empowering message and catchy blend of rap and R&B, was later named a Song of the Century. And at the 41st Grammy Awards, she made history by becoming the first rapper to win Album of the Year and first woman to win 5 Grammys in one night, a record-breaking achievement that solidified her status as a trailblazer. And yes, not just first woman in hip-hop, literally first woman to win 5 Grammys in one night. Incredible. Beyond her solo success, she left many other marks through collaborations in songwriting. She's written and produced for Aretha Franklin, Mary J. Blige, and also extended her influence into Santana's Grammy-winning Supernatural album, and has also had inductions into the Grammy Hall of Fame, the National Recording Registry. Billboard named her the greatest female rapper in 2015, and Rolling Stone and NPR recognized her among the greatest singers of all time. And her contributions, of course, go beyond that. She normalized fusion of rap and melodic singing, paved the way for modern artists like Drake and Nicki Minaj, and socially conscious lyrics address topics like love, identity, and systematic injustice, bringing depth and introspection to mainstream hip-hop. Her legacy endures as a symbol of artistic integrity and empowerment, and it remains, that album, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, remains a cultural touchstone, frequently ranked among the greatest albums of all time.
I have some stats for you. Only 4 Black women have ever won Album of the Year at the Grammys. The first time that ever happened was Natalie Cole. In 1992, she won Album of the Year for an album that was called Unforgettable with Love. That was actually a tribute to her father, Nat King Cole. Then Whitney Houston won it in 1994. Then Lauryn Hill won it in 1999. So 3 times in the 90s, a Black woman won Album of the Year.
Man.
Interesting. Then do you know the next time that a woman won
Beyonce?
album? Yeah, but literally this month.
Yeah.
26 years later.
Sometimes I look back and I'm like, the 90s were horrific, but then also I'm like, man, maybe we were doing something right.
Something
like,
working.
Yeah, the tabloids and so many ways that they talked about women's bodies and all sorts of things. It was just awful in the 90s and the early 2000s. Like, I remember growing up in that time period, and just then also like, why is it taking us so long?
Isn't it crazy that 3 times in the 90s and then 26 years later, Beyonce finally got it?
That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I had to just point out how many years between Lauryn Hill winning and Beyonce winning. All right. So Lil Kim, who was the first female rapper with consecutive top 10 singles and a platinum solo album. Kimberly Denise Jones was born in 1974 and is better known as Lil Kim, is an American rapper who rose to fame in the mid-90s. She was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. She had a pretty tumultuous teenage years, lived a couple years on the streets because she was expelled from home, but she was influenced by other pioneering hip-hop artists like MC Lyte and Lady of the Rage. Lil Kim began freestyling actually as a teenager, and her big break came in 1994 when the Notorious B.I.G. discovered her and invited her to join his group, Junior Mafia. Their debut album, Conspiracy, featured 2 top 20 singles and was certified gold, which eventually set the stage for her eventual solo career. In 1996, she released her debut studio album, Hardcore, which became a huge success, eventually earned double platinum certification, sold over 6 million copies worldwide, produced hits like No Time, Not Tonight, Ladies Night, and Crush on You. Super huge songs. She had other albums like the Notorious K.I.M. and La Bella Mafia that both achieved platinum status. And one of the most iconic moments came in 2001 when she collaborated with Christina Aguilera, Maya, and Pink on Lady Marmalade, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 and earned her a Grammy Award for Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. In 2005, she served a 1-year prison sentence for perjury relating to a 2001 shooting. So that was a minor setback in her career, but she released The Naked Truth during her incarceration, and that album actually earned a lot of critical acclaim.
Which, like, how do you release an album when you're incarcerated? Did she, like, write it beforehand? Like, I was so thrown off by this. So I was like, what?
I would love to know the logistics.
I know,
how
right?
That happened.
I'm like, have we had that in a long time? Someone releasing an album while they're in prison? Please.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But she also had a reality series called Lil Kim Countdown to Lockdown. Premiered in 2006, becoming Bet's highest rated debut at the time. So maybe that's what, maybe she knew she was going to jail and so she was working on it.
Yeah.
I do need to look up those of
It's
it.
like a great marketing move, isn't it? Everyone's, oh, she's going to jail. So she does a reality TV show counting down to it. And then the minute she's put in prison, she's dropped the album.
Drop the album. I'm going to
That's
let it
pretty
do its
great.
thing while I serve my sentence. She's, though, made like appearances since then. She was actually on Dancing with the Stars in 2009, which is crazy
Fun.
that Dancing with the Stars has been around since 2009. It's like,
Forever.
and people are still talking about it.
Yep.
She actually released her album as early, and she's known as the Queen of Rap, Queen Bee. Lil Kim has sold over 15 million albums and 30 million singles worldwide. Her influence in hip hop has been recognized by numerous outlets. Complex listed her songs No Time, Big Mama Thing, and Not Tonight, Ladies Nights among the 50 best rap songs by women. VH1 ranked her 45th on their 100 greatest women in music. And she's also made significant contributions to fashion. She's a super big style icon, known for her daring, luxurious looks. She actually had a collaboration with a nail artist, Bernadette Thompson, on the Money Nails in 1991 that brought intricate nail art into mainstream fashion that
Which
actually
is
was
still a thing.
displayed at the Museum of Modern Art, which is
Love
really
that.
cool. And of course, is like a huge philanthropist, supported causes like HIV and AIDS. She is a mother to her daughter, Royal Reign, that was born in 2014, and just continues to still be an icon.
Okay, Foxy Brown, first female in hardcore rap. Foxy Brown was born Inga DeCarlo Fung March in 1978. She's of Trinidadian descent and was born and raised in Brooklyn's Park Slope neighborhood, where she was discovered as a teenager after winning a local talent contest, leading to her first recording on LL Cool J's I Shot Ya. Known for her provocative lyrics and confident persona, she quickly became a dominant figure in late 90s hip hop. She signed with Def Jam Recording in 96 and released her debut album, Il Nana, which was a critical and commercial triumph. The album peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200, earned platinum certification, sold over 7 million copies worldwide, featuring the hit single I'll Be with Jay-Z. And in 97, she joined Nas, AZ, and Nature in the hip-hop supergroup The Firm, releasing a self-titled album that debuted atop the Billboard 200 despite mixed reviews. Her sophomore album, China Doll, in 99, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, making her the second female rapper to achieve this feat after Lauryn Hill. Her third album, Broken Silence, in 01, peaked at number 5 and earned her a Grammy nomination for the single Nah Be Like. Plans for a fourth album, Lil Nah 2, The Fever, were canceled after her departure from Def Jam. And even though she re-signed with the label under Jay-Z's leadership, her next project, Black Roses, was also shelved. There were some legal troubles and personal challenges, so she released a mixtape, Brooklyn Don Diva, in 2008. And I think that's all we've had from her. But of course, she was a fashion icon. She served as a spokeswoman for Calvin Klein and was a muse for John Galliano at Dior, and apparently also had a high-profile feud with Lil Kim due to frequent industry comparisons. But of course, her mark on the genre is undeniable. And how can you beat coming out with your first record with LL Cool J when you're like a
literally.
teen? Yeah, that's insane.
Icon. All right, the last woman that we're going to specifically shout out is Missy Elliott. Of course. She's actually the first female rapper that was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is slay.
Love that.
Incredible. I keep saying slay, and I don't mean to be doing that. Sorry. That's a word that I've been using ironically. Side note, I sent this to Stauney earlier. So I did, in fact, utilize ChatGPT today to help me with a newsletter because I was just trying to think of ideas, brainstorming for a subheading for my thing. And then I was like, okay, I should teach this ChatGPT that I am a feminist, and that's the angle. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, are you a feminist? And it provided me an answer of, I agree in equality. And I responded with slay. And then ChatGPT said back to me, period, with the nails getting painted emoji. Let's dismantle the patriarchy, one musing at a time, and then the little satisfied thing, and then a sparkle emoji. And I'm like,
Love
excellent.
it.
I am teaching ChatGPT how I would like to be communicated with. So
It's like, oh, welcome. I know. It's gotten to the point where I'll literally type in, hey, ChatGPT, what should I do this? And it's based on the fact that you run a feminist podcast and are interested in branding and this. It's like, oh, crap. You know too much about
you
me.
know,
Forget hacking my TikTok.
it's horrifying. It is horrifying. And I don't like it, but it did make me laugh when its
Yeah.
response was period nail art, nail
Love it.
polish emoji. I'm like, if I'm not predictable, that this
Mhm.
chat GPT knows exactly how I would like to be messaged back.
Oh, love it. Get the robots on our side.
Literally. If they're gonna exist, I might as well have them have the
I'll
goal of
indoctrinate them.
yeah, I'll indoctrinate the robots to fight the patriarchy. If AI's here, at least we can have it on our team,
Yeah,
hopefully.
100%. It works by fact, right?
So true. All right. Missy Elliott. Also born Melissa Arnett, Missy Elliott. She was born in 1971. She's an American rapper, singer, songwriter, and record producer. She's actually originally from Virginia, and she began her musical journey as a member of the R&B girl group Sista in the early 1990s. She honed her skills in songwriting and production, particularly in collaboration with a longtime friend and producer, Timbaland. Wow, what an icon. He's definitely produced some of the biggest songs ever. And together they crafted hits for notable R&B artists and pretty much shaped the sound of late 90s R&B and hip hop. She made her solo debut in 1997 with Supa Dupa Fly, an album that broke new ground in hip hop, had very futuristic beats, innovative music videos, and it debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, becoming the highest charting debut for a female rapper at that time, featuring hits like The Rain, Supa Dupa Fly, and Sock It To Me, and pretty much just solidified her as a leading force in music. Her follow-up albums included The Real World, Miss E, So Addictive, and had huge hits like Hot Boys, Get Your Freak On, and 1 Minute Man. And throughout the 2000s, she just continued to break barriers with critically acclaimed albums like Under Construction and The Cookbook, with other iconic tracks like Work It and Lose Control. She is known for her super dynamic music videos and became a pioneer in visual storytelling in hip hop that earned numerous MTV Video Music Awards, including the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. In addition to her solo success, she made significant contributions as a producer and songwriters for artists like Tweet, Monica, and Jasmine Sullivan, and collaborating on chart tracks like Lady Marmalade alongside Christina Aguilera, Lil Kim, Maya, and Pink. Her impact on music has been recognized with many accolades, including the Grammy Awards induction into the Songwriter Hall of Fame as the first female rapper, and her 2023 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, making her the first female hip hop artist to achieve the honor. Her contributions to the music video landscape and her influence on future generations of artists have solidified her as a cultural icon. She's known for her boundary-pushing style and empowering lyrics, and she's inspired so many artists, including Nicki Minaj, Lizzo, Cardi B, and Tyler, the Creator. And she's just been a huge advocate for women's empowerment, body positivity, having a lot of themes of feminism and self-love in her work. She has just remained this huge resilient figure in the industry. She actually released a 2019 EP, Iconology, that marked her first project in over a decade, that just continued to show her continued evolution as an artist. And she's just a trailblazer who is incredible and is like
Definitely.
celebrated. It's nice when you find a woman artist who's like properly celebrated,
Yes. No, I agree.
like, that's nice. That's
Or it's like,
cool.
yes, give her awards.
Put her
Thank
in
you
the
very
Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Put her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where she
No,
belongs.
I agree.
Thank you.
And we only covered people from 70s to the 90s. If you wanted to continue into the 2000s, there were names that were coming up like Eve, Lisa Left Eye Lopes, Trina, Raw Digga, and then of course you have Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. We've talked about Doechii. The legacy continues. There's so many wonderful, powerful women in rap. I just think it's amazing to look back and see like the root of all of it, even from the beginning, especially like we've talked about so many times that like the credit gets given to men for the beginning of movements over and over again, when it's like the women were right there helping the entire time and we're like a part of it from the beginning every single time.
Like literally was the one to even promote the first block party.
Yeah. He's no, I'm into the music. And she's cool. I'll make the flyers, charge the entrance fee, organize the entire thing, and promote it all.
I'll actually make this happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A quick note about like feminist activism in hip hop. And actually, I'm going to put a plug because we've gone an hour into this episode. So I won't fully dive into it right now,
Yeah.
but I will dive into it on our newsletter for this week.
Ooh,
So if you want to hear more about feminism in hip hop, come say hello on Substack.
do
Um,
it.
anyways, but feminism activism in hip hop is a huge movement. I think an incredible thing that these women did is they were able to bring their own lived experiences into a genre that people associate with misogynistic themes and things like that. They were there to challenge and reshape the potential like misogynistic angles that was around them, and they used not just music, of course, like graffiti, breakdancing, DJing, and emceeing, with, of course, music and dance probably being the main one. And because I think a thing that you have to acknowledge is historically, hip hop has been associated with having harmful stereotypes of objectifying women, explicit lyrics, the betrayal of violence, and things like that. That there was this female representation and feminist artists and groups that have emerged to confront these issues. And beyond all that, though, we acknowledge hip hop has been a medium for social change that started. Like, that's how it started in the 1970s, to provide
Yeah.
cultural commentary. And it's cool to see how that's like just evolved and how all of these women were able to step in and advocate for themselves through music videos, performances, even online activism, which I think is very legitimate. And feminist voices in hip hop are continued to reshape narratives and advocating for equality. Like I said, even the fact that Doechii went up there, I think it was very brave of her to like, because when she acknowledged the fact that she was only the third woman, I think she was like making a point of that's not right, but like
Yeah.
I'm grateful. Like she didn't just go up there and I don't know, act like it was such an honor for her. Like she called the Grammys out in a way that I thought was so important and brave of like why though, you know?
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I don't know, I just think it was so subtle but like very powerful that she acknowledged that she was only the third woman and that she's one of them. And so deservedly, I might say. And I think the cool thing about like hip hop and feminism is I think sometimes more traditional feminist movements have been critiqued for centering white, middle class, upper class women, you know,
Yeah, definitely.
where I think the whole point of hip hop as a genre is to just focus directly on the lived experiences of the people who are singing these songs and creating this movement. And I don't know, it's an incredible genre of music. Like I said, it's really cool how, because it was started almost at the point of being social commentary, it just made it the perfect place then for these women to say, and I also have something I need to say.
Definitely. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's so important to have those voices there and to have the platform there and continue hearing them. And even like with all the people we've covered, I think one of the things that was incredible is like there was so much collaboration and building each
Mm-hmm.
other up and inspiring each other. And it's almost like a direct line from the beginning clear down to now of
Yeah.
them just continuing to lift one another up into the mainstream as much as they possibly can and allowing their voices to speak out for people around them, even with the beefs and everything that go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think it's incredible. I'm excited to dive more into it and learn more about it beyond like mainstream. I don't think I ever dove deep into hip hop. So it's,
Totally.
yeah, it's an incredible like movement and music genre to learn more about for
And I
sure.
think like even today in the modern era, there's women today that have taken hip hop and they're like embracing their sexuality and saying like, no,
Hmm.
this is an empowering thing that I can choose to be like this. And just because it's still a male dominated space, I'm using this as a symbol of power rather than being objectified by it, you know? And like I
Definitely.
have the right to express this without being judged because I'm choosing to take ownership of this. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just cool. All these female artists are just saying, no, I can control my own narrative. I can have agency over my body and use it as a form of legitimate artistry. And it's cool. It's
It
just
is. It's
cool. It's the
amazing.
epitome of cool.
I want to end actually with this funny little anecdote I found. I didn't include it because she wasn't a rapper, but I actually think it's like very fitting for feminist activism. So obviously, hip hop and rap in general have been very misogynistic. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things you can think about is the use of the B word, which I think
Ah.
women have reclaimed a lot, but there's been a lot of moments when that was used as very derogatory and still
Mm-hmm.
continues to be a lot of the time. And Dionne Warwick, who's a singer, she ended up calling out Snoop Dogg and who else did she invite over? Oh, here it is. She hosted a meeting with Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight, and several other rappers in her home. And she was like, 7 a.m. on the dot. Don't be late. Don't be early. Be there then. And all of them, of course, were like freaked out because like, this powerful woman, like Snoop Dogg even said, we're powerful right now, but she's been powerful forever. 30 some years in the game, in the big home with lots of money and success. He said they were all in her driveway at 6:52 a.m. Like just ready. So like,
Oh
yeah. And so she greeted all of them, had them all sit down, and then said, call me a bitch to my face. Which
Incredible.
is something they used all the time to describe women in their songs. And she told them, you guys are all going to have to grow up. You're going to have families. You're going to have children. You're going to have little girls. And one day that little girl is going to look at you and say, Daddy, did you really say that? Is that really you? What are you going to say? And the rappers were dumbfounded to hear their own lyrics being used against them by one of the greatest female singers of the time. Snoop Dogg said she was checking me at a time when I thought we couldn't be checked. And then said, we were the most gangsta as you could be. But that day at Dionne Warwick's house, I believe we got out gangstered.
Wow.
And apparently he went on to change the tone with his new album, The Dogfather, like completely changing how he talked about it. And now he's a husband and father to 3 boys and 1 daughter. And he said, Diane, I hope I became the jewel that you saw when I was little, when I was the little dirty rock that was in your house. I hope I'm making you proud.
That's
Lovely moment
anecdote.
of Snoop Dogg.
Thank you for sharing
Just
that with
thinking
me.
of even her stepping in and being like, don't you dare continue to call women this.
I love the idea of like, call me a bitch to my face. And all of them being like,
we would never.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So, and I think that is literally the heart and soul of the feminist activism in the hip hop space and everything, even though she was
And
like
just,
a singer. But yeah.
But like, and just period. Because I think, especially now, like people are getting really brave saying things online, you know, and sometimes I just want to be like, go say that to your mom. Like,
Yeah.
go say that to your sister. And like, I hate the narrative of, oh, because like I have a daughter. Like, no, it shouldn't be just because you have a daughter. But let's like step outside of that for a second. Because if you can't fathom that it could be all women, fine. Go tell your daughter that she shouldn't go for her dreams because she should just be, you know, go tell her that you want all these things for her that you're just spewing online.
I know. The minute your daughter says, I want to be a doctor, and you say, no, you have to be a housewife. Really? You want to do that to your 5-year-old kid? I just think it's important framing sometimes to realize that like,
and even not to that point, like think about the men who like comment like derogatory things towards like women's bodies, like famous people, and like saying, oh, there, go say that to your daughter. Go show your daughter that you said that about a woman.
Go look in a freaking mirror.
Actually, I saw the best TikTok that was Taylor Swift's. Of course, we're going to bring up Taylor Swift. We always have to talk about Taylor Swift on the episode. But her Grammy look and all of the comments that the men left. And then the person making the video didn't say anything. They would just show the comment, show Taylor Swift, and then show the profile picture of that man. And they weren't saying anything, but everything was said. You know, yeah, it was great.
It's an important thing to remember. You're going to vocally critique someone's body on Instagram. Maybe
you're
a second look.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's just an important reminder out there too. Not even just men, but like what you say online or what you say out in the world. Sometimes I have to even remind that with the podcast of like, I'll say something so confidently to you because I'm like, oh, you're my friend and I'm talking to you. And then I forget that we put it out for theoretically anybody to listen to. And I have to be like, wait, would I be comfortable with literally anyone in my life hearing this? And like, not that we say anything bad on here.
I know, I'm like, hopefully we don't say anything too insane, but yeah.
You never know. Anyways, so a good reminder for us all, perhaps, to be aware of the things that we say.
Yes.
That was a fun episode. Yeah. I feel like I learned so much, and I am literally going to end our call and go listen to Roxanne's Revenge.
Oh, fun. I'm queuing up Lauryn Hill for tomorrow at work.
Good.
Just thank you all for being here. We're excited. We are celebrating Women's History Month after this episode, right? This is our last episode of the month.
This is our last February episode.
And the calendars can remove it all they want. but we will never.
We will never.
Yes, we've got March Madness coming up. We focus the entire month on feminine rage because it is so important and vital to the feminist movement and our identity as women. So we've got that coming for all of March and a whole other year of episodes every single Monday.
To show off next time too. Or in 2
Yes.
times, but Birch.
Yes. And yeah, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all the things. It just
We'll be
helps
back.
us out a lot. We are doing this for free. So if you'd like to contribute, that'd be great. And like Sadie said, we've got the newsletter. We have a monthly one with pop culture happenings and then a weekly one that kind of talks more about the episode and how it connects to our world today. So follow along with all of those things and we'll be back on Monday.
We'll be back next Monday. Bye.
Bye.